And welcome everybody to the PCS Like a Pro show. I'm your host, Megan Harless, as always. And I am very, very excited for what we have today. If you don't know the person sitting here with me, Ashley, you will quickly know her and you will quickly become a fan of her like me. Before we get into all of that, we know it's PCS season. A lot of people are still in the process of moving. A lot of people are still getting their household goods delivered, and we're still seeing some delays, some issues, and things like that kind of trickle in and happen. Keep in mind that if you have those issues, reach out first to your move coordinator. That's the person from your moving company that you're assigned to. That should be your single point of contact through the whole process. Reach out to them for any questions or issues through the process. If they are unable to help you, if you cannot get a hold of them, then reach out to your local transportation office or your GIPSO, who is like the next office above your transportation office, for assistance as well. Even if your move coordinator can take care of things, don't be afraid to contact your local transportation office. Let them be aware of the issues that are happening so they can be able to track it. So that way, if it's something bigger down the road, it's not the first time they're hearing about it when it becomes a major, major issue as well. So just keep in mind that you have those places to reach out to. If all else fails, we've got our PCS group, PCS Like a Pro, Your Smooth Move, that you can join as well. Ask your questions there. And we are always happy to help connect to whatever resources, offices, points of contact that need to be reached out to as well. So just keep all those in your back pocket so if you have issues. But we're going to jump right into today because I want to have time for this and not have to rush it because I'm really, really excited. If you've been around for a minute, and especially on social media, you have heard and seen of Ashley Gutermuth. She is a fabulous person. I got the opportunity to meet her in person back in May in DC. And I just want to tell you guys that if you ever get the chance to meet her or to go see her in person, absolutely do it. I think I was probably fangirling a little bit in the hotel lobby. I saw you walk back and forth occasionally. And I was just like, I think that's her. That must be her. Is it weird to go say hi? I think I'll wait till after the event before pushing type of deal. But Ashley, welcome to the show. I'm so glad you're here today.
Thank you, Megan. Thank you for having me. It's wonderful to see you again. It was lovely. I'm glad you didn't tell anyone that I'm actually 7.5 feet tall. So yeah, I'd like to keep that a secret. Thanks. It's great to see you again.
It's like a surprise when you see her in person, just how tall Ashley really is. You know. Yeah. So, I mean, how did you first get started in being a comedian and deciding to take this path to be the comedian?
First of all, I've had a lot of different jobs, and at all of them, I'm difficult and just a bad employee. So that doesn't work. I always wanted to be a comedian. From when I was really little, I used to listen to comedy. I used to go to work with my parents all the time. And my parents were both helicopter mechanics. So I would go with them and I would sit at airports and I would watch comedy. I would listen to comedy, Monty Python and British comedy. That's one of my biggest things, influences is British comedy. So I just loved it. And I'm a troublemaker. Always have been a troublemaker. I always tried to say things to make people laugh. I snuck into Toastmasters meetings and used to do whatever comedy I could there, or would stand up in front of the class and just basically try to get as much attention as I possibly could on myself at every moment of every day. And that's, it's easy to do when you're awake, but when you're sleeping, I'm still working on that. So that's why I do the Instagram videos so that people can watch those when I'm not awake.
Yeah, totally. So you focus a lot on military humor on your social networks and with what you do. Why the military community?
Well, my husband is in the Air Force. And as you know, with being a military spouse, it basically takes over your entire life. Right? You lose, for a long time, I was just thinking, is this my only thing? Is that I support him and make all of this work? I was trying to do different types of comedy. I didn't talk about being a military spouse for a while in my comedy because one, people kept telling me that there wasn't an audience for it, which that's wrong. obviously. But the other part, now, you know what, my husband's at a point where he's going to retire and can't get promoted anymore. So I was like, yeah, all right, let's see what we can do. Burn this system to the ground. So then I was like, okay, let's see how much what we could do there. And I like being able to call out the silliness, because there's so much silliness.
Yes, no, absolutely. I always tell friends when I always bring you up, and some of them that don't know who you are, I'm just like, she says all the things that we want to say but don't say, but she puts like the great twist on it, so that way it doesn't come off as like, this horrible thing. Which I can really appreciate, because there's some things where I'm just like, this is so freaking stupid. Like, why is this happening? I'm just like, wait a minute, Ashley's got a video for this. So I'm just like, I'm like, here, this makes it easier to share and for people to see. We got a couple of people coming and joining us, Ashley and Angela, in the comments. We're glad that you are here, ladies. We're going to be getting into some good stuff here in a moment. So if you all haven't hit that share button yet, go ahead, hit that share button, share it with your friends, especially those that are PCSing, because listen, we get to a point during our PCS where we just we want to break down and we want to cry, and it's like, this sucks and we're over it. And at the end of the day, like, we need a really good laugh to kind of get through things, because we get to the point like, either we're going to laugh and be able to like brush it off, or we're going to cry. And at some point we feel like we're going to snap and we're going to be like, a Dateline 2020 special edition episode. We get so frustrated with things. So yeah, hit that share button, share it with your friends, because everybody needs a really good laugh here. So, you kind of came onto the scene and you have like kind of taken everything by storm. I remember seeing some of your first videos and being like, this is either going to be good or it's going to be bad. And it turned out being really, really good. Because I'm just like, yeah, like the more I watch, I'm just like, yes, like, please, I share with my husband. I'm like, this is what we really think. This is what I really want to say to people, but I feel like I can't sometimes. So it's always so good. So in almost every military group I'm a part of, like, I see your stuff being shared there. Like, how has the support from our community been for what it is that you do? And what has it been like stepping into this role of, again, really saying the things that we want to say, but we sometimes feel like we can't?
So yeah, for the most part, everybody's been great. And my videos, especially, well, the ones that cause the most trouble are the ones where I give fake advice. I tell people there's a military spouse paycheck, which we're working on. I'm going to get the government to start paying for that. Lobbying senators right now. But so that there's like this feeling of, it's bad. So people can kind of like giggle over it. Where it gets interesting for me is when people will leave comments or they'll send me messages of things that they think are funny. Like you were saying, this could be really bad. And it can be really bad. There is such a fine line. And here's an example I use of, the flight line, right? Mm-hmm. So my husband's a pilot. One of the things with the flight line is there's a red line. You don't cross the red line, otherwise security forces will shoot you. That's the thing. You don't cross it. That's their domain. They could take you down. So I would never make a video where I joked around with people saying, go run out into the flight line. Like I would, or ram the gate, or do something like that, go harass security forces. I would never do anything like that. But the things that people come at me with ideas for videos, and you're like, that's too much. Like, I'm not trying to get I'm just trying to have a little bit of silliness, not get anybody killed.
Cross the line.
Let's not cross the line. And also there has to be a layer of supporting the military, which I absolutely do, of loving being a military spouse and supporting being a military spouse. But also, you can't deny that there's not ridiculousness to it. The underemployment and the unemployment and the childcare issues and the food insecurity issues. And there's all these things that need to be fixed. And if you, just like in comedy, if you see a comedian on stage and there's somebody that just keeps like heckling them and they ignore it, you go, well, how does that comedian, like, I could just watch TV. The comedian's not even acknowledging that person. So if you don't acknowledge the real things that are happening, you sort of seem a little tone deaf to me anyway. But yeah, so the support's been really fun. I like when people come up to me in public and they're just like, oh my God. Or they sometimes I'll see people park in like a general or an admiral's parking spot, and I'm like, I hope that you're not a general. And I made a video telling that everybody that could, if you just used Excel spreadsheets.
I might have done that back in our early day. I mean, first time going to the commissary, not understanding what those parking signs are, like general parking. I mean, it's like I'm the general public, right? Like that's what it means. Like I can park there, right? My husband quickly corrected me on that. When he came to meet me, we ended up at the PX right next door. We could walk to it, and he came and met me for lunch because I was there, and walked me out to the car. He's like, "Where'd you park at?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm right here." He's like, "You cannot park there. Like that is not designed for you." I was just like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "That's for people that wear stars on their uniform. That is not you. That is not me. That is not anybody that we associate with and talk to on a regular basis. Like,
right,
you're over here, honey." It's like, oh, okay.
Right. It is just all such silly things. So the flip side to that is there's Gold Star family parking spaces. I would not make fun of a Gold Star family parking space. I would make fun of a general having a parking space. Sure, he can walk. Why the heck not? But I'm not going to make fun of a family who had such a sacrifice. So there's definitely fine lines, and I don't like to make fun of people. I don't like to make fun of how people look. Or make people feel bad. I like to make people feel good. So that's sort of where I ride that line.
Which is a good line. And I like how you have that boundary of where you're going to be at, where you're not going to be at. Kind of keeps it a little clearer for everybody. I know there was one video you recently did, which I felt like you were watching a camera in my home or something. It was about like you want a baby, start leaving like the baby books all over the place. For the last several years, I have asked my husband, I'm like, a baby or a puppy? Like, I feel like we could do one more baby, like I feel like we have it in us that we could do it. Granted, my youngest is 9. So we're a few years removed from that diaper stage and everything. So like, I think I shared it, and it's just like our new puppy, Stella. He got me a puppy for my birthday, a 5-month-old Rottweiler and everything. And so it's just like, yeah, it's like that's generally how it goes, a baby or a puppy. And
you want a puppy. You gotta go. You start. Here's what you do, guys. If you want a puppy, start leaving prenatal vitamins around the house. Start what to expect when you're expecting. Don't mention anything about a puppy, and then a puppy magically appears. That's what I'm working right now. I'm trying to figure that out.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I just want to throw this little story out there for everybody from when me and you met the first time back in May. There was a group of us ended up going out to dinner at this one restaurant. And as we're all sitting around, we're all sitting around the table. And I feel like it's in true Ashley fashion that she pulls out like the Air Force Wives Handbook and starts reading to us like what it says about how you're supposed to eat. I don't know what it was, how you're supposed to eat steak or cut steak or eat seafood or something.
Asparagus. And they choose, it says tricky foods. We're like, okay, is it that tricky? It's like a stick.
Right. And there was somewhere along the lines in there of like, if you're unable to like cut it or to do it, like ask for help. I'm just like, is it that hard of like using a knife to cut some vegetables? Yeah.
One of my favorite parts of that book is where it talks about specifically not like if you're having a dinner party and someone offers you help, you have to decline their help. You have to specifically not ask for help, no matter like even if you really need it. So I could just picture like some 50s housewife just like scalding her feet. She just dropped soup over them. She's like, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. Just like, come on. I don't know. I could never be. I know people now that live like that book, that have been through. There's classes if you go to be, if your spouse goes to be a general, they have these etiquette classes. They have different types of things to learn and know. And I know people that kind of live that, do you know who my husband is kind of life? Yes. And my God, I call it playing with them like a kitten, where you're just like, all right, you're silly. So I'm just let's see what we can do here. Cause I can't take it. I can't live like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So speaking of the, do you know who my husband is story? Here's a good one for you. So many years ago, back when we were having child number 2, my husband was deployed. He was supposed to come home for R&R. I went into labor a week early, so he was somewhere between Baghdad and the United States. They lost him. They didn't really know where he was at the time. Got a call from him later that night and everything, told him I had our baby. Went into labor early. Well, here is my brother-in-law. He came into town a few days early because we had an older child, and he was just like, I have a feeling you're going into labor early. He's like, don't ask me about it. He's like, but if you do, like, somebody has to watch your older son, and I'll be here to watch him until like your mom or my mom or Aaron gets in or whatever it is. I was like, all right. So he, when I went into labor, we called my mom. My mom got on a flight, flew into Virginia. My brother-in-law took my oldest son, went and picked her up at the airport to bring her back to the hospital. And this was at Langley Air Force Base. And so they call me because my brother-in-law first went to the wrong gate to get in to go to the hospital. I guess there's one gate where you can go and you can say, I'm visiting somebody at the hospital, and they just let you through. The other gates, they don't really let you do that. So first he went to the wrong gate. But here they are. My mom's like on the phone with me, like telling me like they're not letting us through the gate. Like, what are we supposed to do? And I just hear my brother-in-law in the background saying, do you know who my brother is? I'm like, Craig, he's a captain. Like, nobody cares who he is. Like, there's thousands of them. And so finally, like, the guy gets on the phone with me. He's like, yeah, we need you to come sign him in. I'm like, I just had a baby like 20 minutes ago. Like, I can't walk right now. And they're in my car. And he's just like, well, we need your nurse to come sign you in. I'm like, she's in the next room delivering another baby. Like, I mean, I hold the phone up and you like hear the woman screaming. And he's like, yeah, we'll just let them come see you. I'm like, yes, like, please just let them come see me.
Please
that's all I want.
And how about that for a story? Like, these are the kinds of things that I try to like spread around how strong military spouses are. So like the amount of people that have had babies while their husbands are deployed and can't contact them at all.
Yeah.
Or they've been pregnant. They have to move to another place while he's gone or deployed or what. There's so many different things that you have to juggle. That's why I sort of hate the lazy. I definitely hate the lazy idea of people like, oh, military spouses are lazy. They just sit around all day. Holy heck, that couldn't be more wrong. There is like this super like I always say like underground network of military spouses that are like amazing. They're powerful and they make changes and they're judges and they're attorneys. And guess what? The attorneys, they move to another state. They have to retake the bar. And the reason why that is starting to get changed is because a group of military spouse attorneys and judges have banded together to create the military spouse doctorate network to try to get the laws changed. So it's amazing the amount of struggles that military spouses have, and they still have this like stigma of, oh, you're lazy and you just stay home all day. Like, oh my God, no.
Like, yes.
No.
Like, listen, I long for the day where I can be late, where I can sit on my couch and eat the chips and watch the soap operas. I haven't had that in like so many years, like, and everything. My kids are so involved with things, doing all the PCS stuff, supporting other friends, doing everything else. But yeah, I mean, like, as you said, our community can be so strong and so powerful together in the way that we get things done and get things together. And all the big kitty makes a good appearance.
Here's Bruce. He's decided that he is very interested in supporting military spouses. He keeps voting down pay increases though, which is really rude of him. I don't know what his deal is, but I'm going to talk to him.
Yeah, I mean, definitely we need to get that going here.
Get it sorted out.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know we've kind of been doing the humor thing through the whole show, which I absolutely love. But can you give us a few minutes of just some good comedic relief for everybody else that's tuning in and joining us now?
Yes. So when you asked me to be on here, I thought, what are some lessons I've learned? Here's some things to know. If this is your first PCS, if this is your first time you're moving with the military, things to know. You don't have a moving company until the truck is gone and filled with your stuff. That's an important lesson to learn. They don't always show up, which is inconvenient. I had a move where they were totally scheduled. They called us at 5 o'clock on Friday. They were supposed to, it was like the day they were supposed to come the next day.
Mhm.
They called us at 5 to solidify everything up, and then at like 5:03, we got TMO called us, and they were like, they said they're not coming. And we were like, oh, well, we have to be. My husband had he was going to a school. We had to be there. And so we had to move ourselves. And we I don't know, how many times have you done a Diddy move?
We did one a long time ago, and it was back before pods were a thing. The container companies were a thing. It was back before truck stops were a thing. And so my husband drove this 26-foot Penske truck from West Virginia to Fort Riley. We did it just that one time, and he said, never again. He said,
It's
I
awful.
will leave you behind to move and to handle things before we do that again.
It's terrible. It's such a marriage test too, because like I will make boxes weigh 4,000 pounds, and then my husband will very kindly Tetris it. Like my job is I'm always the muscle. I will get it ready. I can rip things apart. I can destroy things. I can load up a box. But putting it on the truck is where he shines. He does the Tetris piece because my God, I'm just chucking it in there and setting it on fire. I have no interest. And then we had a 26-foot trailer, and one of the tires blew on the highway because we had overloaded it, because it was everything we owned was in this. And I remember being like, oh my God, the tire blew. What are we going to do? We were in a convoy, which you got to do, right? You got a convoy when you're PCSing. And my husband called me. He said, one of the tires blew. I'm so excited. I've wanted this my whole life. I was like, what do you mean you're excited? He was so excited to pull over at a big truck stop and get to talk to the guys and get them to change the tire. So we had very different experiences that day. I have fired movers. We've fired them in advance. We've not gotten along with them, and we're like, all right, we have a bad feeling about this. You're out. I've also threatened. Well, let's not use the word threatened, because we don't want Ashley to get arrested. I have used some stern words with movers and I stood up on and this wasn't even my move. I was helping somebody else move. Their mover had threatened them. Was like holding us like a table leg like this. And I got up on top of this table like thing. And I started doing that. I was like, I am calling the cops. I'm going to call TMO. Get out of here. So I turned into like, all right, we're going to scrap right now. I wouldn't recommend that. I'm always kind of looking for some sort of altercation.
So the next move we all do, we just need to call Ashley. She'll come be our security.
That's
and
right.
Back us up. What I'm hearing here.
I don't know what my deal is. Throughout my life, I've done like Muay Thai. I've taken those types of lessons. I've done boxing lessons, all of that stuff. The more I do it, the more aggressive it makes me. And I'm just like, I'm just always ready. Okay, here's a lesson that I learned. If you're doing a move across the country, okay, we've gone across the country a few times, don't choose to exclusively eat seeds. Now, I had to learn this the hard way. It's too much fiber, I guess. I don't know. You're going to get real sick. And then at the end, when you've made it from the East Coast to the West Coast, and you get out of your car, your husband's going to come up and be like, what has happened? And he'll start sweeping seeds from everywhere. And then you'll have to hear about it for the next 4 years. So another thing, when I drive long distances, I don't like to stop. Now, in my day-to-day life, I pee approximately 4,000 times a day. If I have access to a bathroom, I'm using it. That's my rule. But when I am driving, I like to get there. I do not like to stop for beans. So here is my recommendation to you. Plan some bathroom stops. Do stop to go to the bathroom. And this didn't happen to me, but don't think, hey, there's an empty Tupperware box that used to be full of seeds. I could probably use that and just keep driving. That's bad. My friend did that, and she had to sell her car. So don't do that. That's a real bad idea. And just really, if you're moving, and we're kind of at the tail end of that season now, right? Just remember to take a deep breath, and before the moving truck comes, if you want to have a peaceful moving experience, just make sure that you burn everything you own. And that's really that's all you that's all you need to know. That's it. If you don't have anything, there's nothing that they can take from you. Remember this, military spouses and families. This is my life. I get messages from people, they're like, you have no furniture in your house. I'm like, yeah, the military has destroyed it piece by piece along with my soul. I now just have 5 Roombas. Why don't I have 6 Roombas? Well, the 6th one died. So that's where we are.
Yeah, and that's so true. I hear so much from other spouses, other families that are just like, we move and they sell all of their furniture, and then like they buy new furniture when they get to the other side, or they sell, whatever it is just to get rid of it because they don't want to move it. Either they don't want to move it themselves, like through a Diddy move, or they don't want to have to like see it come off a truck, possibly broken, and all that. I hear it so much in our community.
It's traumatizing, and it's more traumatizing. Like, I don't have any attachment to stuff. I grew up with people that just hoarded out the wazoo. So I have I can't take it. So I will get rid of everything I own. But I hate it when like my husband, who doesn't have that kind of childhood trauma, is like normally attached to things. He's got a motorcycle that he inherited when his dad died. And it's very nice. He's had it forever, kept it in pristine condition. And every time we move, it's a real worry when that rolls off the truck and you see movers that are trying to balance it to keep it from falling. And I'm just like, oh my God, if they break it, he's going to cry. You're just like, I can't take it. So that kind of, just don't have anything sentimental, have nothing of value, do nothing in your life, stay home all day. This is what we need as military spouses. Oh my God, this is not as uplifting as we wanted it to be.
But it feels like, in that line of thing with the motorcycle, like the things that we don't want broken or damaged, it feels like sometimes those are the things that show up broken and damaged. And then like the stuff that we'd be okay, like I'd be okay if this table falls off the back of the truck. Like, like I don't really want this table anymore, but my husband won't let me replace it because we have a table and it's a good table and it still functions. And why would we get rid of it and get a new one when we have a table? And so I'm just like, if it falls off the truck, it's not the end of the world to me. They wrap that table like it's, this like
nuclear blast
and everything. And like, it's the most like precious thing in our shipment. And I'm just like, no, like it's okay. God. Like just put it on as it is. Like I want a new table, please. And it never seems to work out how I want it to be with that table.
But with like the smaller stuff, you got to remember, like if you have things in your house that you don't want to keep anymore, you can be like, oh, we must have lost that in the move. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened to all those pictures of your ex-girlfriends. Just must have fallen off the truck.
That box never showed up. I guess we'll have to, claim that one. And
yeah, we put it on the high value list, but I don't know where it went. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sort of, I don't know. I don't know when we're gonna move again, because we're trying to figure out what our next thing is. But I don't know if I'm gonna try to do a Diddy move. I'm getting rid of stuff at a rate. I mean, the last move we had, I think we only had 10,000 pounds of stuff, which is pretty darn good. We went from like 17,000 maybe at one point, and then Ashley has slowly given away everything as possible. When new people come into the neighborhood, I will put on the Facebook page, like, hey, here's some stuff. I'm going to put it out front. It's free. And it's usually really like, I'll give away really good stuff. I don't like to charge for it. I hate that. But when you don't charge for it, your neighbors become real suspicious of you. They're like, what, are there drugs in here? What is this, a trap? And they don't take it. I'm like, guys, this is good stuff. Take it. It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
But
no, I enjoy the good curb alerts that get posted on our neighborhood pages of when people are moving out or moving in. It's just like, this doesn't fit here, we'll get rid of it. But you don't want to load it up and drive it downtown to a donation center, and it's too much to try to meet somebody for money. So you just put it on your curb and you just post curb alert on this street and a little picture, and give it a couple hours. Usually it's gone, unless it's Ashley's dresser with drugs. Then it's probably.
Hey, you know what? That sounds like a bargain.
I mean, you get a piece of furniture and you get something to make a little extra money with.
It's fine. You only go to jail for a few years. Do you go through this? I mean, so my friends, a lot of my friends are comedians, and so whenever they're like, oh, can I come by your house, or can I sleep on your couch or something like that? And I'm like, oh, you can, but here's the deal. I live on a military base, which means they're going to run a check of you before you come through. Do you have any felonies? I'm sorry, I have to ask this. And they're like, you know what? I'm just going to stay at a hotel. And like, that's fine. You don't have to tell me. Just don't. I don't get me in trouble. I don't want to have to move.
But now I have so many questions about your friends. I want to know, like, what happened in their past to, like, where they're just like, no, I'm good. Like, I won't even risk it. Because some bases, so the post access is set by the garrison commander. And sometimes, depending on what's going on in the world, they will allow folks that have 1 felony. Sometimes it's 2 felonies, depending on what it is. Sometimes they'll allow certain different types of crimes. So when people are just like, I won't even risk it, let me just sleep on the couch. You got a story. Let's tell it. Like, we don't judge here. I just want to know.
Now, here's the thing, though. Like, army bases, when you go to some army bases, you can just and Navy, you just scan your ID, and they let you on, or they have the little walkthrough things. And Air Force bases, we're just like locked down. Nope. Everybody, we need 100% ID check. Open your trunk. I don't know.
That's so people don't walk away with all the nice Air Force stuff. You got like the 5-star Marriott hotel, you've got the 5-star gourmet restaurant, and the swimming pool. So that's probably why it's so strict at Air Force bases. They don't want that stuff walking away. Whereas Navy, Army, the rest of us, we're just like, yeah, come on. If this piece of equipment goes missing, it's no big deal.
You're absolutely right. Our chow hall defect, which dining facility, is open to everybody. Anybody can go eat there. So you can bring somebody from the Navy over to the Air Force defect and be like, oh, do you want to have some steamed fish and dumplings? Because that's what we have. We also have made to order artisanal pizzas. So, but yeah, you go ahead. You join the Navy. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, over here in the Army, we get something that it might be a pork chop. It might be a something else. Like, you can't really tell. You just drench it with your Tabasco sauce and you just chew for a while, and
that cooks it too, because it's raw on the inside. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh gosh, this has been so good today. I hope everybody watching, I hope you've been laughing with us as much as we've been here. Again, it's one of the things why I love Ashley so much and what she does for our community, because we get to these points in our life where it's just like I am going to snap. And sometimes we laugh to keep from crying, and sometimes we laugh to keep from snapping. But we have people like Ashley that provide us the humor that we can understand, and that gets what goes on within our life and within our community, and helps bring these lighthearted moments to such big and heavy topics, and stressful moments as well. One of the things I always like to end with when I have other military spouses on my show is, what is a piece of advice that you would want to pass on to others?
Okay, I'm going to reformat it and give 2 pieces of advice. One is, if you see your neighbors are moving into your neighborhood, or you're leaving and you see that they're using the crates, they've been crated, so they've got the big plywood things that are coming in, keep an eye out for nails. In their driveway and in your driveway, you're going to have nails, and you're going to lose tires. If you just keep an eye out and you start picking them up as you go, you're going to save so much of a hassle. So if you see the crates, think, oh, shoot, I want to keep my tires, and keep an eye out for the nails. The second one is, if you're a military spouse, or you're just a person, which I imagine you don't have many cats watching. If you're just a person, get out of your own way. Whatever you want to achieve, go do it. All you have to do is a little bit of it every day. So I used to be a terrible runner. I used to wheeze when I ran. Now I can run 3 miles a day. I can probably run. I've done a marathon more but I've ran every day for 7.5 years. And the whole reason why I'm able to run and talk at the same time is because I did a little bit every day. That's all you have to do. You don't have to say, I'm going to run a 5K every day. You run a quarter of a mile every day until you can do a little bit more. So I always like to use that as an analogy. Whatever you want to achieve, you got to do a tiny bit of it every day, and then you'll do a little bit more and a little bit more. So just get out of your own way. Don't worry about what anybody else thinks. Put your blinders on and go for it.
No, that is such good advice. And the crates with the nails, I should probably go tell my neighbor Allison about that as well, because their shipment showed up yesterday, and it was crated. They came from Germany, and I walked over there and saw them prying all the nails off and the plywood boards and everything. So I should probably, Allison, if you're watching, you should probably go check your driveway and your curb and
come on, Allison,
everything else. But your other advice about doing a little bit more each day, I think is definitely something so beneficial to our community and so beneficial for those that just want to either do something better, either for themselves or for their community or whatever it may be. I know sometimes, especially for us, we think if we're going to do something, we have to go big or go home. And it doesn't necessarily always have to be a go big or go home on day one type of thing. You can do a little bit and build it each day until it is that go big or go home thing that may take time to get there, but you don't have to do it all instantly. So that's some really good advice and some great things to end for it today. So Ashley, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join us.
Thank you so much for having me, and I hope to talk to you again and see you in person again. I'm going to come out to Leavenworth. I'm coming for you.
Yes, Leavenworth people, listen, we are going to do what we can to get Ashley out here, do some sort of event, some sort of show. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. Whenever we do get that put on and put together, like, you want to be there. You definitely want to be there. Seeing Ashley on, virtually through our computers and smartphones and whatever else right now is so different than seeing Ashley in person and getting to meet her in person. And just for those that don't know, and I'll say this because I've been able to meet you, just the down-to-earth, genuine person that you are, it's refreshing. And so I was so excited when I got to meet you. I was just like, she's such a cool person, like in person, like can I take her everywhere with me now? Not to be like that crazy stalker person, like, you're so cool, like, come do all this stuff with me, like, come be my neighbor, please. Not that we have a lot of Air Force people out here in Kansas City, but I mean, you could find a way. We could find a way to get your husband out here.
That's right. It's like, let's ship him there. That's right.
We can write a letter to somebody to get him out here somewhere.
Let's do it.
But yeah, no, absolutely. So we're gonna work on that. I appreciate you being here today. Everybody that's tuned in and watched and has shared, thank you for joining us today as well. And hopefully, like I said, that you've got some more laughs out of this as we've been laughing through this whole thing as well. Make sure you tune in again next week, same time, same place. We'll be here. We're gonna have the ladies of Locks and Mill Moves back with us. And we're going to be talking about what they've been doing on their side of the house with PCSing. So if you don't know them, they are military spouses and veterans that created a packing company to specifically pack household goods for military families. They're expanding that a little bit and doing a little bit more. And so we're going to hear about what's new with them and what they're doing and how they're impacting this PCS process for our community as well. So make sure you tune in. You're not going to want to miss that show either. So until then, have a great rest of your Wednesday. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Woo!